Hello. Thank you so much for joining. Really glad to be with you all today. And what we want to talk about today is, given where we are in the year, it's fourth quarter, it's into the fourth quarter. What can we still make happen this year? Because we've got a good 7 weeks of productive time. Now, I didn't mean to scare you. I think I put in the invitation and lead to this that we had 5 weeks. That was just my bad. We actually have 7, and that takes out the week of Thanksgiving and takes out the 2 weeks of December, which are kind of dead time over the holidays. So the good news is, if you are into this and you want to think about what you can get done in the next 7 weeks, you can still take all that family and friend time and do the things you want to do. So let's focus on 7 weeks, even though there's really 10 weeks left in the year. This is a cool time for me. First of all, I love fall. It's my favorite season. So I'm kind of enjoying the cooler weather and digging the sweaters out and all that stuff. But I really just naturally gravitate towards business planning for the coming year. And so, in thinking about that, what I go to is, what were my objectives for this year and what did I accomplish? And so feels like a good time to be talking about this. So, if the question is, what can you make happen in the next 7 weeks? The answer is a lot, if you want to. Check in with yourself and see how motivated are you to do that, or are you ready to coast? And either way is fine. Either way is fine. But hear me out on this in terms of, if you want to get more done and sort of finish the year strong, because even if you choose not to do that stuff, it'll get you thinking in advance of next year. So stick with me on this. The first thing I would say is, if you want to get more done in the next 7 weeks, make sure they're the right things. So sometimes we can feel like we need to be in a frenzy, or you start feeling pressure to finish the year and to even start thinking about Christmas shopping or whatever that means for you. And it can start to put pressure on. So what I would say is, check in and make sure that they're the right things that you're focused on. And a great place to start is, as I mentioned with my own business goals, go to your objectives for the year and take a look at what are the things that either you committed to your company or your boss, or you just committed to yourself, as is the case with me running my own business. What are the objectives you set for the year, and how are you doing with them? If you've accomplished them all, like, it's time to celebrate. If you're one of those students that likes extra credit, you may want to add on to it. But if you've accomplished all of your goals for the year, you're amazing and deserve to be celebrated. So tell me about that so I can join the celebration. But if you haven't accomplished them all, which I would venture to say most of us have not, take a look at what's left. Is there anything there that's motivating to you? Is there anything there that you really feel drawn to and you want to get done? We'll go there for sure. But the things that are left, run them through a filter of, is this even still important? Is this something I should be focused on? And if it doesn't meet, if it still needs to be done and it's not exciting to you and it can wait, think about putting it into your objectives for next year. So any of those things is great. I guess I'm really big on being purposeful about this. So making the decision, including a decision to wait rather than just letting things go. You'll feel a lot better about, this is undone. I'm making the decision to wait until next year, rather than, ooh, I forgot about that and I didn't do it. So it's a little bit of a mindset game maybe, but I find it makes a big difference. So you're going to go to your objectives for the year and see what the status of that is. Another great thing to do is to check into what's been drawing your attention. So, like, when you're distracted, what is it that you're dreaming about? What is it that you're thinking about? What is it that's interesting to you? Because that may be drawing you to something that either will be interesting and, generate other thoughts. It may be something that you can build into an accomplishment this year or next year. So, like, give yourself permission to pay attention to what you've been dreaming about or what's distracting you. Who knows what that could lead to? And then another great way to think about it is, for the next 7 weeks, one of the things you could be doing is think about where you want to be in 2024. Like this time next year, when we're talking about the end of the year, finishing strong, starting the following year in a really good place. Where do you want to be this time next year, this time in 2024? Because once you know the answer to that, you can think about what does future you need you to be doing today to set you up for that. And that could be exciting, and that could give you new energy and sort of lead to the things that you may be wanting to focus on. So what does future you need you today to be doing? This is just water in here. It's Monday, it's not Friday, so there's not vodka. It's just water. The other thing about what do you want to accomplish is think about both professional and personal, because both of those things are productive. And I'm all about fulfilling career, happy life. Let's not leave out the happy life stuff. If something on the personal side is going to be really motivating to you, then go for that. Okay, so another good thing is to know that the process, the approach that motivates you. So if you're a person that needs a goal to be working towards, and I tend to lean that way, set a goal. That'll help you to accomplish something more. So just know that about yourself. And if you are a person that is motivated by a stretch goal, that's speed that you would have to work at and that extra pressure actually may be motivating to you. So if you're a person for whom that's true, don't fight it, just go with it. Use it. It's what works for you. It's all about you. And remember that there's nothing magic about the turn of the calendar page. So yeah, I'm focused on the next 7 weeks for those of you and me who are motivated by sort of a deadline and a goal. But what happens is in December, the calendar page turns over to January and you keep going. So the 7 weeks is there if that's motivating to you. And if it's not, don't worry about it. It's just rolling development. It's rolling work towards your goals. Okay, so know what motivates you. And, if it's the big stretch goal, that's great. But other things that may be motivating to you are resolutions that you may have set. If you're a person that does that, check in with the resolutions that you made. I don't gravitate towards resolutions. I'm more like intentions or goals for the year, but it just depends on how you frame it up. If your particular objectives motivate you, go there. If doing something fun motivates you, like thinking about, this is an example that wouldn't work for me because I have no talent here, but a big craft project that turns into your holiday gifts or something like that, doing something fun, the huge goal that you're not sure you can hit, if that motivates you, set one. Sometimes doing something creative to kind of change the subject and instill new energy in the things you're doing might be something that motivates you. Taking a mental health break, you probably have PTO left. And so take a day and, do something fun, get out in nature, get together with friends, do something that you would really enjoy doing. That can instill new energy. One of the things that really works for me has been really important this year is a gratitude practice. So, practice like yoga. I mean, it's never perfect, but what I do is before I even jump out of bed in the morning, I think about something that I'm grateful for. And what it does is it sets me up to be finding those things all day long. That may be motivating to you. And sometimes doing something tangible can help. Most of my clients do so much mental work and communicating and motivating others and things like that, that sometimes something tangible can be really satisfying. And it might be, refinishing a piece of furniture or getting some art hung in your home. Or for me, it's even doing the dishes, like creating order out of chaos and being able to see the results of my work actually is pretty satisfying. But I will never tell my husband that because it's good for him to think it's a little bit of a sacrifice on behalf of the family. So if it's something tangible, do it. Might be cleaning out your office or cleaning out your computer files or like whatever would be productive and satisfying for you. Sometimes that can sort of recharge the batteries. One of the things that I do that motivates me is competition. And I come out of a sales and marketing world where we would set up competitions for contests for the sales force. And so what I realized then when I started my own business is I had to set up competitions for myself, which may sound really silly to you, but it motivates me. Like, if I'm at a point where I can add a few more clients to my client roster, I might, identify I have space for 2 more clients. Okay, how many discovery sessions can I get in the next month to try and generate those 2 clients, that kind of thing. So for those of you who don't speak coach, that's a free session that I do with people to meet them and see if we'd be good to work together. And in fact, I do have space for 2 new clients now. So if you're interested, be in touch. But that kind of a competition, oh, I did my 8 discovery calls or whatever it is, that's something that I do to motivate myself, and then I celebrate in some way. So whatever motivates you, know what it is and do that. Another thing that's important to know about yourself is what stops you. Like, what can get in your way about between now and what you want to accomplish by the end of the year. So some of the things that I hear most frequently from clients are just general procrastination. Have you ever said, you're a person that puts things off, or you're a procrastinator? There's different techniques to get past that. But the bottom line is, know that if that's an issue for you, it's something that you can look at. Uncertainty might be another thing that gets in the way. You're not quite sure what you want to do. And then you kind of need to decide, is it better to do something, even if it's, if it's 90% the right thing? Are you going to feel better about doing it versus not being sure and not getting it done? Fear, what's going to happen when I get that done, or what's going to happen when I fail to do it? Sometimes that gets in our way. Another one that can get in our way, and I hear this from clients a lot, it's related to uncertainty, is imposter syndrome, meaning I really want to accomplish this, but I'm not sure I'm good enough. I'm not sure I have the skills. I'm not sure I deserve whatever is on the other end. So that's something to know about yourself too. And in general, it might just be your mindset. Like, you may not be excited about it, or you may not be wanting to take on something new for the year. There are solutions for all of those things. The last one I want to mention is sometimes we get in our own way by not advocating for ourselves. There may be a resource or support or help that you need to accomplish something. And if you're not stepping up and asking for it, that might be getting in your own way. And it's kind of a good way to practice advocating for yourself, which is something that even very successful leaders often need help doing, need practice doing. So this might be a small way to practice that, to ask for what you need. You might get it. So what if you don't? You're no worse off than where you are right now, but you might get it. So the other thing to think about is you can either take all of this stuff on, or you can choose not to and just wait for next year, and you will have started thinking about it. So give yourself permission. Like, if none of these things are motivating to you, give yourself permission to not do it, and you can think about it again next year. Another fun thing, I say fun because I'm about to tell you a story about it. Another interesting thing to do is to see, what can you manifest? So what can you draw to yourself just for the energy of thinking about it? So this may feel a little metaphysical or whatever, but let me tell you my story. So last year, this time, I was doing my business plan. And for me, what that means, I went to business school. I come out of the business world. It's just naturally how I think. Of course, I have to have a plan for the year. And what that means is, what do I want in my business? What do I want my different revenue streams to be in terms of one-on-one clients, group work, that kind of thing? Do I want to be bringing other coaches into my business for the year and sort of extend my reach that way? What kind of marketing activities do I want to do? All of that. So I was at the top. I was at the point of, what do I want my revenue streams to be? And many coaches move away from one-on-one clients. I don't see myself ever doing that because I love it so much. So I was thinking about, what are the numbers of clients that I want to have to make my business feel right, work the amount of time that I want and all of that. Corporate clients, that kind of thing. And then I started thinking about, well, work that I've really enjoyed is working with corporate leadership teams. And there's a huge need there. So I thought, all right, I want to do more of that work. I don't know where it's going to come from, but come January, I'm really going to start looking for it. And I'm going to make that happen next year. And I put in a very modest revenue target because that's motivating to me. It wasn't just, I have an idea to do this. It was, I'm setting a goal against this. So that's me manifesting what I want to do. Literally, while I was doing that exercise, I got a text from someone that I used to work with. In fact, he used to report to me. And now he's got a really big job at a pharma company. And he asked me, he said, I have this need for my team. Does your company do that kind of work? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Who's your assistant? Let me set up an appointment in the next 2 weeks or so. We can talk about what you need. He called me immediately because it was when it was on his mind. We had a great talk. We had some ideas of what the work we could do this year, in 2023. And so all I had to do was think about it and plan for it and put a goal in place, and the work started to come. Does that always work? No, but it was incredibly reinforcing to me that focus on what you want, put it out in either in a business plan or talk to people about it. And it's amazing what you can make happen and what you can draw to you. And I'm excited. I've worked with them all year. In spite of some personal challenges that slowed things down. And I have meeting with them this week to see what we're going to do next year. So I invite you to manifest what you want, put it in writing, talk to somebody about it. You can draw that to yourself. Okay, so I've talked a lot. Let's make it tangible. Let's take an example of if you decide in the next 7 weeks, one of the things that you want to make happen is to hone your networking, practice your networking, really dial it up. You may have been good at that and you want to continue, or it may be something that you haven't paid a lot of attention to that you need to regenerate. So let's break that down as a tangible example. The first thing is to figure out what are you trying to accomplish with your networking. So it might be refresh your connections, which feels really good. In this day of remote working or hybrid working, sometimes we're just not around people as much as we were. So refreshing those connections can just feel really good. And, you touch base with people that you care about and that were important to you either now or at one point in your career. One of the things you might be wanting to accomplish with networking is starting a job search. You might be looking to recruit talent to your own team. So you want to find out what's out there, who's out there. Or it might just be networking for new ideas. Talking to people outside your own organization is a great way to refresh that. So once you know what's your objective for networking, then an approach that you can take is I recommend breaking it down. So the first thing I recommend is following a model that to me is just concentric circles. And there's 3 of them. The innermost is a small group of people that you might want to reach out to for brainstorming. And this is especially important if what you want to do is maybe start a job search or you're looking for talent for your own team. So maybe that's 2, 3, 5 people. I wouldn't recommend more than that you reach out to and tell them the things that you're thinking about and just share some ideas. And, maybe all you're asking for is 30 minutes of their time. And most people are happy to do it. And if someone doesn't get back to you or can't make the time, don't make it mean anything other than they're not getting back to you. Reach out to somebody else. If we're talking about 2 or 3 or 5 people, you have a few extras in your network that you can add to that innermost circle for brainstorming. Then once you've done that, you can go out to the next wider circle, which is really about outreach to people you know. That makes it easy. You're not cold calling anybody. You're reaching out to people that you've worked with in the past, that you've known in some way, just to connect with them. And this could be more brainstorming, or this could be a specific request of, hey, I'm thinking about starting a job search next year. Do you know anybody I should talk to? Do you have any ideas for me? That kind of a conversation. And if that's not entirely comfortable for you, make it 2-way. Always end the call or pepper into the call somewhere, hey, what can I do for you? Is there anything, any connections you need that I can facilitate for you? Any kind of anything that I can help you with, so that it's not just one way. So that's the second circle out. The outermost circle is kind of the next level. The acquaintances, the people that you may have met but you don't know well. They may be mutual connections. So some of the folks in your inner circle, if you ask them, do you know anybody I should talk to? They may connect you with someone else. So that's kind of what I consider that outer circle. Also include companies that might interest you. If there's a company that you have your eye on that you think might be a good place for you, reaching out to people in that particular company can also fit into that circle. So follow it that way, and then it just feels more manageable. And then follow some manageable steps with it. So break it down into realistic but slightly stretch goals. Or if you're a person that's motivated by the big goals, then feel free to stretch. So what if you don't hit it? You've stretched, you've done some things. For example, if your goal is to network with 20 people by the end of the year, well, so what if you only network with 10 or 15? It's 10 or 15 more than you would have done otherwise. So set the kind of goal that's motivating for you. But then what's really important as a next step is to break it down into action plan and put it in your calendar. And I recommend shoot for 2 actions a week, which might be making 2 calls, 2 contacts, whatever. If that's motivating to you and you're finding it fun, you will just naturally overachieve. But 2 actions a week should feel pretty manageable for you. And put it in your calendar from a standpoint of think about what's the time of day for you that's better. Some people like to do a half an hour right at the beginning of their day, once or twice a week. So just put that time in your calendar so that you can take it on at a good time for you. And look, this is your plan. So if something comes up, give yourself permission to change the time. But don't let yourself off too easily to cancel it. Move it, but keep it on your calendar, which you can also choose to take it off your calendar. But at least ask the question, is whatever I'm scheduling in place of this as important as this thing that I said I want to do? And then, one of the things that is helpful for a lot of people is to focus on this first thing in the morning. And maybe it's, I do things like put a sticky note on my computer, so I have to take it off before I even check my email. And it might say, hey, what are the 2 things you're going to do today or this week? So figure out what works for you. And I find that first thing in the morning, a lot of my clients like doing that. Makes it real for you. It makes it present for you that day. And then the final thing, if you've done all this stuff, is think about how are you going to celebrate in 7 weeks. So that's the middle of December. What are you going to do to celebrate everything that you've accomplished? Which hopefully feels manageable to you. All of this, the thinking about, the planning, the implementation, is either going to result in you accomplishing something great in the next 7 weeks, and who knows what you can unlock or pave the way for next year, or you will have focused your thinking for 2024. Either way is great. You'll be that much further ahead than where you want to be. And give yourself permission to not do any of it, but then that becomes your plan. And it's such a silly game, but I do this for myself, and I see a lot of clients do this. If what you decide is you don't want to do it until 2024, that is the plan. And by doing nothing in the next 7 weeks, you are working your plan. Having made that decision sometimes can make you feel good about it rather than make you feel guilty that you're not doing something that you may want to be doing. So those are my thoughts on what you can accomplish in the next 7 weeks. I hope it is helpful for you. Let me know. Let me know if some of this works for you. Let me know if you have some different ideas, or let me know if you don't buy into any of this and you think that I'm, full of hot air. I'm open to that too. Would like to hear your perspective. And if you're interested in considering being one of the 2 new clients that I have space for, contact me. You see my email there, Randi with an I at randirobertscoaching.com. feel free to drop me an email and let me know, and I'd love to connect on whatever's important for you. So thanks so much for listening in. See you soon.